morning and welcome to the Camnet Breakfast Show today, Monday, 4th of July 2022. And today is a very special Monday. We are celebrating Heroes Day. And so this is the country where we actually honor the freedom fighters that actually the country's independence in 1964. So I am your host, Zipporah Mshala, and I'm joined by my co-host, Mercy. Good morning, Mercy. How are you?
Good morning, Zipporah. How are you?
I'm good. On this Heroes Day, how do you feel?
It's actually pretty interesting because growing up, I never really paid much attention to the heroes of the nation. It was just about the history, the Independence Day and whatnot. But growing up, I've actually come to realize and appreciate the efforts that these people who fought for Zambia put in. And it's something that I'm actually loving, that I've now embraced it. And it's something very interesting that today it's Heroes Day and we're celebrating those people that just like put their lives in front to make us experience the freedom that we have today as Zambians. It's something pretty interesting. I'm actually excited for today.
Yes, very interesting. And so at 7:30, we're going to be joined by Mr. Phineas Pumolo, who's the Deputy National Youth Spokesperson for the United Party for National Development, who's just going to help us maybe like discuss how can youths emulate the heroes of the country, because we as youth of today were engaged in different vices. So how can we actually emulate the country's heroes for the development of our country? And also joined by Nalikwanda MP along with Mr. Phineas Pumolo, who's just going to help us, who are just going to help us discuss the topic. And at 8 hours, we're going to be joined by Mr. Peter Malembeka, who's the chairperson for the Freedom Fighters Association of Zambia, who's actually just going to give us maybe like a throwback to some of the things that happened in the past when they were actually fighting for the country's independence. What did they go through? And how do they want us to remember them? And just before we go, we're just going to have the money market for today so that we can know how our culture is actually faring. So we have the United States dollar, which is buying at 16 kwacha 44 ngwe, selling at 16 kwacha 76 ngwe. The euro, which is buying at 18 kwacha 89 ngwe, selling at 19 kwacha 26 ngwe. The Great British Pound, which is buying at 19 kwacha 74 ngwe, selling at 20 kwacha 13 ngwe. The South African rand, which is buying at 1 kwacha and selling at 1 kwacha 2 ngwe. So Mercy, what are your thoughts on the US dollar compared to the US dollar in terms of buying and selling compared to the kwacha?
I've actually noticed this, a stability in the same thing for the past, we'll just go into a month or so. It's just been in the range of 16, 17, 16, 17.
Good.
Which is good.
In that debate, of course, saying maybe last time I was doing the day when we hit a single digit inflation of 9.7. Like I was actually doing a story on that, and I saw that actually prices did reduce according to the briefing,
Okay.
but they reduced by maybe like 17%, like very minimum, maybe from 16 kwacha. Maybe if, for example, million, if it was on 163, it's now on 162. So like those are really minimum.
Was that just a ministerial statement, or people on the ground actually confirmed?
That was in the briefing, the inflation, when they were actually giving the figures and the percentages by which. But then it's very, very minimal, maybe a 3 ngwe decrease, and all that. So people want to see maybe a decrease even by 10 kwacha really. So that.
Yeah. Because I actually did a similar story on the same thing when we recorded the single digit of 9.7. People were actually complaining. I did a story in Chawama. They're saying that the cost of living has actually gone up, and they're actually failing to have 3 meals per day, of which we are seeing all this, the inflation rate is actually reducing. Because there was a time, not to politicize it, but there was a time the president was saying, no, we're going to have it in a inflation rate is going to reduce to a single digit. We were expecting to see a form of, the cost of living to reduce. But then at the time we were recording a single digit, people were still complaining that, okay, prices of commodities on the market are still very expensive. So it's, in as much as we are having those exchange rates, it's quite hard to celebrate because we're not seeing it trickle down to the ordinary man.
Yeah. That's what we actually want to see. And just now we're going to jump right into our first interview, and we have officially opened our phone lines so you can actually call in and just tell us how best you think we can actually honor our founding fathers, because for many youth of today, especially those born after the year 2000, many of them do not know much about the country's founding fathers. So are they taught enough in schools? How best can we remember them? And just as we do that, we're going to play a story on the late Dr. Scotta Winner, and just take a look at that story as we have our first guests. It is the close of the chapter for the cabinet under Zambia's first Republican President Kenneth Kaunda. As veteran politician and freedom fighter Scotta Wina has returned to sleep with the country's founding fathers. The demise of Mr. Wina Nainti, who was born on 31st August of 1931, in the early hours of Tuesday morning at the University Teaching Hospital UTH, has been made known in a statement by Acting Secretary to the Cabinet Patrick Kangwa. President Hakainde Hichilema, in a statement on his official Facebook page, has described the demise of Mr. Wina as a loss to Zambia, stating that he was one of the country's founding fathers, freedom fighter, and a proud patriot. Meanwhile, Camnet TV spoke to United National Independence Party UNIP President Mr. Trevor Mwamba, in which party Mr. Wina served, who had this to say.
First and foremost, I think it's to put the matter in perspective. He was a very young, he was the youngest cabinet minister in the first cabinet. He was in the Legislative Council, must have been about 31, 32, as Minister of Health. He also became Minister of Local Government and Broadcasting and Tourism. So he did a lot in that regard. But I think he was passionate about the development of the country. But he sacrificed a lot.
He has also lamented the lack of appreciation of the country's founding fathers in today's generation, stating that their legacy should be upheld.
Generation, in fact, I would say from 1991 to say 2021 last year, what I call the 30th generation, have no idea, no inkling of the contribution of our founding fathers, such as Mr. Scotta Wina and others. What they did for the liberation of Zambia under UNIP, the United National Independence Party. These are people who sacrificed themselves for the betterment of the country. They used their training, Mr. Scotta Wina trained in the United States, in Los Angeles, in California, and he came and gave his gifts for the good of the country. So our generation, they need to learn about who these founding fathers and founding mothers were, what they did, what they sacrificed, and emulate their steps. These people were selfless, you know, they were there to serve the country and not themselves, and not to benefit from the resources of the country, but to ensure that the resources were used for the betterment of everybody.
Mr. Wina was the country's first Minister of Health and also served in various portfolios, such as the Minister of Local Government and Housing, as well as Minister of Information, Broadcasting and Tourism. The funeral will be held at his house in Mimosa, Chilanga District. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Welcome back. You are tuned in to the Camnet TV Breakfast Show. And right about now, we have our guest in the studio. Yes, because today we are actually celebrating Heroes Day, a day we get to remember our heroes, the ones who fought for our independence, the reason why we're actually experiencing the freedom that we have today. So gentlemen, welcome to the house.
Good morning and good morning, viewers.
Good morning.
Okay, so for viewers out there, just remember that our phone lines are now open. We have been joined by Nalikwanda Member of Parliament, who's Honorable Konwat Munji, and Mr. Phineas Pumulo, who's the Deputy National Youth Spokesperson for the UPND. And so welcome to the studio.
Thank you very much.
Yes, and maybe, so looking at Heroes Day from the perspective of the youth, like how best can youths honor or maybe emulate our country's heroes, and maybe from the MP, how best can today's leaders actually formulate policies that actually ensure that we develop the nation even as we honor our country's heroes. But then, of course, maybe I'll begin with you, Mr. Pumulo. Our youths in the country are known for maybe various vices. Really, what could be the cause of this and how can we change this?
It is very simple. I think the politicians themselves, they have made the youths of this country to be tools of violence instead of making the youths of this country to be more productive and contribute to the welfare of this country in a positive way. I think if you see the dynamic of the leadership when it comes to the way it was like in the past when we had likes of Scotta Wina, likes of Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, likes of Veron Mwanga. Those were nationalists. But probably somewhere around 1999, 98, we began to see that the youths turning into themselves as hooligans, as tools of violence. So you find that we have lost quite a number of years instead of being productive youths, but we have turned the youths of this generation as tools of violence, which is saddening us as youth leaders. But going forward, I think with the coming in of our new administration of HM, we have made sure that we have normalized the country so that youth must be productive, because we need to lead by example so that our children, they should take over from us as a proud sons and daughters of this country, that we have made sure that rule of law and order and norms as returned in our country. Because I can assure you that under the leadership of President Hakainde Hichilema, Zambia will experience norms, and us as young people, we want to make sure that we live like our forefathers left the country, whereby they were nationalists, they were fighting for the country, they had put the country first, compared to people who we see that they had put themselves first, enriching themselves at the expense of the country. So we need to see youths who are very productive, youths who are putting the country first. That is the only way that we can emulate our fallen heroes, because they fought for the country, they put their lives in order for us to enjoy the freedom that we're enjoying right now. Unfortunately, for the past 15 years, we had lost the freedom that we have gotten back right now. So going forward, we expect that we are going to produce the next Veronumanga, the next Kenneth Kaunda, the next Manderas of this world.
I'm interested, Mr. Phumulo. You touched the aspect of youths at one point being people of national asset, I'll call them, in terms of their interest to the things of that would develop a nation. Where do you think we went wrong as Zambia to lose such caliber of youths to violence? What could have been the reason? Could it be the aspect of non-employment? They are upset because they don't have things that can actually sustain their livelihoods. What could have been the reason, on your perspective?
It is very simple. It is the politicians themselves who brainwashed the youth in thinking that they can't be productive apart from being used as tools of violence. But I can safely say that we have now gone back to the right track. The politicians themselves have got a lot to play so that the new generation, they have the will and the zeal to drive so that they become national assets. Because you can't become a national asset by being an hooliganist, by being a cadre. You can't become a national asset. You should be very productive. This time around, even the value of education has now gone up. Because the past 10, 15 years, even people who are educated, they were not being counted as human beings, as people who can be productive compared to a cadre. What you used to see, it was just someone buying a jumbo at Karam Street, then a commander. But this time around, we need to see youth, young people, when they go to school, they want to say that I want to become a nurse, I want to become a doctor. Youths must be blind themselves so that we become the national asset. That is one of the goals that drives President Hakainde Hichilema and the UPN, is to make sure that the youths are more productive, to make sure that the youths realize that they have got a role to play to make sure that the country is back in the Champions League as the president, the way he has put it. So we are back in the Champions League. I think we are the new generation of the leadership through the President Hakainde Hichilema. And Zambia at large, so we have a lot to do, because we have people who look upon us as youth leaders. So even how we conduct ourselves, it matters the most in the community. Because there are people who look up to us that want to, like my sister there. So we need to make sure that when we live in the community, even the way we carry ourselves, we must inspire the young ones.
Okay, so maybe Honorable Simon, we've seen lawmakers in the past maybe make some laws for personal benefit, but maybe what message you have, or for example, outside the controversial Bill 10 that we had last year, and we've also seen the cybersecurity bill which was pushed towards the elections that is now being revised. And so really, do you feel that or maybe should MPs actually make laws for maybe a personal benefit of their parties, or maybe should they make laws for the benefit of the country at large?
Oh, thank you very much. As national leaders, when you form laws, you should be a national person. You look into the future of the nation. If you make laws for your party, do you think that party will be there tomorrow? Or is it, when you make those laws, are you making them for your families or for the nation? The main aim when you form a law is you are trying to project the country into the future so that you are able to direct the country where it's going. So like the beauty, if you look at it, the people were trying to enact that law such that they can protect their interests, so that they are in power for the foreseeable future, which is not good. Or if you look at the cyber security, where it says Mr. Pumolo is, even when he is sleeping, people are even able to view what he's doing, which is not, it's not good. People can be free to do whatever they are supposed to do. It's our country. So we should formulate laws which are in a national interest, not a political party's interest. In my view, that's what it's supposed to be.
Okay, and Honorable, well, on that point, maybe you can just clarify there's been this trending issue where I think we actually ran a story yesterday, since we're on the same topic, where there's been a rumor, I don't know if I can call it a rumor, that MPs have increased their salaries. Maybe you can just comment on that.
That could just be a rumor. Currently, as an MP, I haven't heard of any salary increment for an MP. Look at this. Currently, our budget is so limited. Where can the country take that money to pay the MPs? There's an issue of negotiating with our creditors. Such that if we said we increase salaries for MPs, there will be an uproar in the country. Because they will say, look, we are fighting to renegotiate with our creditors so that we have a room in which we can find a way to pay those creditors. They can give us a room to look for money. If you look at the budget, it's about 172 billion. The majority of that budget is supposed to go to repayment of those loans. If we were to pay those loans, this country was going to be at a standstill because there won't be any cash inflows. Now that we have said, okay, let's hold it a bit, let's talk to our creditors so that we can see how we can go around this problem. How can you come up and say, no, we increase the salaries for members of parliament? It's not possible.
Okay, that's why I asked that question, because we're on the topic of heroes. They were talking about self-sacrifice, isn't it, for the nation, but it's good that you've clarified. And then maybe back to Mr. Pumolo. Of course, you've mentioned about how today's youth should actually emulate maybe the veterans of those days, how those people in the youthful days actually contributed to the country. But today we've seen a culture of handouts. Have we seen a mindset change, or are people ready to change their mindsets and actually maybe do productive things apart from handouts?
I think
or your Honorable can actually handle that.
Yes, the count of handouts actually is a very bad seed. If you look at it in the past 10 years, all the youth were looking at the politician to give them handouts. That's why there was this increase in cadreism. Now, with the new administration, that's why you are head of CDF. There's a lot of money which has been put into the CDF so that it will go to the women and youth, so that they are able to do productive things in the countryside. If you look at the youth, for now they are supposed to apply for money, so that they are able to maybe buy machinery, they can produce tests and sell to schools. From there they will get money. Now, if you are able to raise money in such a way, why should you go for handouts? And this money, the majority of the money is not grants, it's loans. You get money from the CDF as a loan. When you produce, later on, after a period, you start repaying that money. You cannot call that one a handout. For me, that's a productive venture. And that's how it should have been. Had we started it maybe 15 years ago, I think our youths were going to be stable by now.
And there's been maybe some talk about how CDF really has delayed or is maybe having teething problems. Do you feel it's actually going to achieve your desired goal, given that in the first year it seems to be having some difficulties taking off?
Those are just teething problems. You see, the CDF was at 1.6 million in the past regime. Now it has gone to 25.7 million. If you don't put in control measures, this money will go to waste. So there is need to put control measures such that as you give the money to beneficiaries, you are able to follow and see if the implementation is there. If you look at, go backward 5 years, 6 years, if you go into the countryside, there are a lot of projects which were started under the PF regime. Go and see what's there. Money was being spent, but the projects which are coming out from there, most of them are being brought down. So that's why there's need to put in control measures such that once the money has been dispersed, you are able to see that the projects have been done. Further to which, those people have to be followed. I mean, there must be a contract which will be signed. In the previous regime, contracts were not even there. Maybe a chairperson of the fund would be given cash to go and buy all the implements. Are you sure if you can give a chairperson of the fund cash in hand, is he going to buy all what he needs to do the project? No. In the current regime, what it is the CDF will choose the projects, and then the procurement committee. So there's a difference between the CDF committee and the procurement committee. As we choose the projects, then it's procurement committee who tender the projects and allocate it to the contractors. So you can see that there's a difference between the CDF and the procurement committee. There's an oversight. Because if you give me the chance to say, choose the projects and find the contractors, I will choose my relatives. I will choose my friends. So if I choose my friends, will there be any control measure there?
Interesting. Honorable, you touched on an aspect of making laws for a country and not for the benefit of oneself. Now, here's a situation where most of the youths in Zambia are not necessarily given a platform to create interesting or rather things that can actually contribute to the country, because what Zipporah brought in the aspect of the CDF, a little bit away from that, well, as we are honoring or whether we are celebrating Heroes Day and we're trying to remember our heroes and see how best we can honor them, looking at the fact that heroes are not just the ones who were there at the time they were actually fighting, we also have people who came in later on and were able to contribute to the freedom that we are experiencing today. That's my question. How best can the youths participate? Because looking at the number of heroes that we had, even if just the presidents themselves, we're only remaining with 2 presidents that have been in the Zambian history, that's for the current and the former president. And then the freedom fighters that we had, most of them are late, with Mr. Sikota Winner being one of the late. So now, how can the youths be part of the package that is driving towards the heroes that we are celebrating? Because we're now turning into a new era where the ones that we had are gone, and now the youth that we have who are going to be the leaders of tomorrow are not empowered enough. So how best can we create that space for the youth to be the future heroes?
I think, let me take that one. It is very simple. This is why the president had made sure that he has removed the notion of youths depending on handouts from politicians. This is why the president has made sure that he has created more opportunities for the youths, and he has even gone further to have a ministry where young people can go and register their companies. Then they go to the ministry so that they acquire different types of opportunity. Maybe there's a ministry of small SMEs where young people can go there and get the loans, where young people can go there and get the information that they need. Because the past politician that we had, the immediate past politician that we had, what they had created a notion whereby the young people only believe that you can only make it when you align yourself with a political party. And the good part, we have now run away from that. We have made sure now, as a new government under the European political party umbrella, to make sure that every youth of this country participate in the growth of this country in an honest and just manner, provided you have the requisite of the requirement that you need, of the qualifications. We have young people, we have women currently who we are celebrating, like Madam Ngamero. We have the new CEO of ZAMBIA'S. She's a young woman where the young people like you must look up to her. The previous youths that we had, the only thing that they were looking at was a politician. We have pastors who have made it in life. We have doctors who have made it in life. We should create the environment where young people like us, we should know that we have got generation that is coming behind us, so that we make sure that we leave a mark in life. As a young national leader of UPND, even our conduct, we must know that there are people who are looking up to us. So it's necessarily not that the young people had no opportunities then. No, the opportunities they were there, but the politicians who were there, they take the mindset of the young people to believe that you can only be somebody in life when you align yourself with politics. But the good part, we have now the new government in place, which is saying that every person, provided you have a Zambian NRC, you are going to participate in the growth of the country. This is the only good way that we can celebrate our fallen heroes, to make sure that we have this freedom that we have now. We just had the Honorable Ndambo, who is donating, who's doing a tremendous job there. And do you know why he's donating and doing that job? Because the current administration has created an environment for everyone. There's no one who can go there and interrupt them. Some good to 11 months ago, you can't see a UPND member going to officiate at a function being televised on a national broadcast. So that is a plus to us. This is why this day of us celebrating the heroes, we are taking this day very serious. Why? Because we are now enjoying the new fresh air, where every citizen is free to participate and is free to belong to any church, any political party, provided you are a Zambian. That is the way to go.
It's actually quite interesting. Mr. Dambo has taken social media on a storm.
What's trending right now?
He's trending. Many people want to be his niece, his nephew. Yes, I'm one of them. I'm your father. I'm your lost niece.
This is why we are saying, this is we as a party, we are saying that it's a plus to us as UPND, because we know that we have scored. We have made sure that freedom of speech, freedom of information, it is there. There's no way about when you go as a journalist to go and film the PF, the chances that you are going to be attacked, they are no longer there. I remember one of your journalists from Camnet TV, when he came to the secretariat, you know, she was like, but people police man, they were fearing for their lives. But this time around, you can go anywhere. I feel good because I know that no one can harass you. That is how it is. So this day, for us as a party, it is a plus. We have come in at the right time where we need to change the direction of our country. We need to make sure that the new generation that is coming up after President Hakainde Hichilema, they should be leaders of high caliber, leaders that are able to inspire the young ones. We don't want leaders who are tribalists. People want to divide the nation based on tribal. We don't want that. We want to live as one Zambia, one nation, equal opportunity for everyone. I will tell you one thing that makes me to be very proud. You go in the different ministries, you find that even the PF guys, they go there and still access the contract, which is a plus to us. There's nothing like when you go there, no PF, no UPND, no. Provided he's a Zambian, he has qualifications, he meets the criteria, he will be given the contract and he will do the business with the government. That is what we are fighting for. So some of us will tell you that we have to put our lives on chopping board. My parents' house was attacked more than 4 times. Me, I was robbed of my lifetime investment because I was one of the first distributor for Airtel. Imagine all the things that I've worked for years. It just went into a blink of an eye. I was attacked, everything was locked. I had 2 houses, I had to sell them to make sure that I repay the credits that I have. So I sacrificed a lot for us to have the freedom that we have today. So I feel very proud and very happy that Zambia, it is where it is right now. That my children are going to grow in the country where respect and rule of law is order of the day. That is what the President Hakainde Hichilema and National Chairman Hubert Liswaniso, he's telling the youth of UPND, make sure that we abide by the presidential directives, make sure that we respect human rights, make sure that the Zambia police, whenever they have suspect, they should make sure that they give them the police bond within the time, specific time, which is in our constitution. There's other thing that I want to put on board. I want also to take this opportunity to appeal to the judiciary that they should at least quicken up the process of disposing of the cases. Because we have people who have been in detention for so many months without being taken to court. We have got one of our youth who is facing the murder, is a murder suspect. The matter is supposed to come for ruling. And to our surprise, it's now 3 months up now, the matter has not yet been caught. So we find that someone is being persecuted, even when they have not been found guilty. So these are things that we are supposed to work on so that we make sure that everyone enjoys their rights. Even those who are incarcerated, they also have certain rights that are supposed to be given to them. Because they are only suspect, they are not convicted. So why should they be punished when they are not convicted? So those are things that we are still trying to make sure that we look into. Because the president made a pronouncement. The president wants the jail to be the inmates to be frauded so that we create space, because there's too much congestion in our prisons. So the only people who can help us to make sure that we decongest the prisons are the judiciary. And currently I can tell you that we are disappointed at the pace in which the judiciary are working, because we find that there are cases which are dragging for years, which is not right, because we find that you have been in remand for 4 years, then you have been acquitted, which means you have served 4 years for nothing. Those are things that we as youth leaders, through our national youth chairman Gilbert Iswani, we are saying no to.
That's actually very interesting. I think the Honorable can take it up from there. He's complaining of the judiciary being a bit, taking long in order to do the thing that he's talking about. My question is, Honorable, are we doing enough to honor these heroes, the heroes that have passed us? Because looking at the fact that, taking it from a perspective where you're now in government, so what are you really doing in order to honor these heroes that have gone before us?
For me, I will put it this way. Are you aware that our colleges currently, most, like the trade schools, are full?
Interesting.
They are full. The current government, what they are saying, let those who are at grade 9, who left school at grade 9 and grade 4, after they left school, they didn't have enough money to further their education. They have told them, go and apply to colleges. Currently, we go to Mongo trades, is full. Kasha trades is full. Cover trades is full. It's full. Why? We want everybody to be educated. It's from the education where we can honor our heroes. The Scotta winners, the Arthur winners, they were where they were because they went to school. Most of their colleagues who didn't go to college, maybe they didn't live up to where the Scotta winners lived to. Because these guys, these people, they were educated. That's why our current president has said, let those people who left school go to colleges. That's the only way we can honor our heroes. It's from there where we can have people who will be MPs in the parliament next time. Because where they are going to do agriculture, automotive equipment, electricians, drivers. From there they are able to produce enough money to look after their families. From the family, you will produce a graduate who will be a professor tomorrow, who will be a doctor tomorrow. And then from there, you produce a president.
That's actually very interesting. Like, the best way to empower them is to give them knowledge. The best form of that is giving them knowledge.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes. Than to produce children who are going to be politicians at an age level. 20 years, someone is already a politician.
Is that a bad thing?
It's not really a bad thing, but at 20 years, that person is supposed to be in college.
Okay.
Now, he becomes a cadre who will be at intercity, who will be in the market trying to get money from the marketeers on a daily basis for a money which has been waiting. For us, we are saying, don't go there into the market, don't go into intercity and trouble people. Go to college. That's the only way you can find a better life in the future.
Okay, in case you're just joining us now, we're discussing how best can our country's heroes be honored, and we have in the studio Mr. Phineas Pumolo, who's the Deputy National Youth Spokesperson for the UPND, and Honorable Konwa Simunji, who's actually Nalikwanda MP. And so, Honorable, maybe looking at today's politicians, I would say they're fighting for power and not really for maybe development. A case in point is the recent wrangles in the UPND alliance, maybe fighting for positions. What's your response to that?
I think it's too early to start fighting for positions. But the alliance needs to stabilize. We need to stabilize so that we're able to see a way forward for our country. We were just elected, it is 9 months ago.
10 months.
10 months ago. And some appointments haven't been finished. Like
but is it a must for everyone to be appointed?
No.
Or should people actually stay out of self-sacrifice for the... That doesn't mean these people are supporting maybe the UPND for positions or maybe for the betterment of the country?
For me, let me talk of myself. I am an MP currently. If the president appoints me to cabinet, that's a bonus. I'm there to save the people. And for look at this, there are some people who want to be MPs in perpetuity. There are some people who want to go into politics for a position. But how many positions do we have? There are very few. So if everyone has to say, me, I want to be in UPND or in alliance so that I become a minister.
So how best can they save without a position? What's your advice?
I think as politicians, what I can say is very simple. We have given ourselves to serve the masses. This is why we're in public life. So when you have been given a privilege to serve in government, even to be appointed, that's just a privilege. But we do not need to expect more. This is why I'm saying that we are taking this country now to another level. We are not playing the Champions League. Our agenda now as young leaders is to serve the people, to make sure that the people's lives are improved. So when you see one or two people maybe fighting for positions, I mean, it depends on how you look at it, because we are not the same. Me, I'm told, Honorable here is very short. Even in thinking that is the way we are. This is that's basically reality. There are others who have gone in politics for self. But I can tell you that in UPND we believe in serving the people. This is why, if you have seen, most of us who are at the National Youth Level, it's not that we haven't been to school, it's not that we are not educated, no, we are very much educated. But we are there to serve. We are there to make sure that the promises that we promised the Zambian people are fulfilled. That is what I can say. So if there are those languages which are there in our alliances, we are not competent enough, us, to comment on the language in alliance, but we are competent enough to comment about issues concerning to our party UPND. And us as in UPND, what we believe in, our core objectives to make sure that we deliver the campaign promises to our people. We make sure that the lives of the young people, the youths, are uplifted. We need to make sure that the new donor administration, they construct more schools, because currently we have seen that almost all the schools are full because of the free education, which is a plus to our government and to the hard-working President Hakainde Hichilema. When he said that we were playing the Champions League, that is actually what he means. So we have seen our colleagues who are trying to say that people still are sitting on floor when attending school. To us, that is a plus, because we know that most of these children are now back to school. This is the only good way that we can honor our heroes, is to make sure that every child is given an opportunity, regardless of where it's coming from. Because you need to understand that children who are in the urban areas, they have got more opportunities than children who are in rural areas, like in his constituency. This is why the president saw it fit to make sure that he increases the CDF and then he gives it a simultaneous amount, regardless of where the constituency is. It is up to the locals now to decide what they want to do with that money, so that the gap between the urban and the rural is cemented. The level playing field. We need to make sure that we level the playing field. That is our core objective. So if you see the languages, even in some churches, you see that the languages are there. Because we have got people who have different motives. But we in UPN, I can assure you that the National Youth Wing and the youth leaders, we are all united. And our core objective is very simple, to make sure that the boy child in Narikwanda receives the similar opportunity with a son of Vakayinde Chilema, who is New Kasaba. That is our core objective. We don't want the rich to have opportunity, and the people who are coming from the poverty places to have no access to education. That we are saying, no, this is why we are making sure that we have been going around. You have seen the National Chairman, every time is going around the country to make sure that the message is sent, to make sure that every child is back in school. That is the only way that we can honor our foreign heroes, is to make sure that even as we emulate to save, to make sure that we save the country, not ourselves. Me, I want to be remembered when I'm long gone that we are the youth spokesperson who stood for us, who benefited nothing but only stood for us.
Yes, definitely. And for those watching, you can always call in and actually give us your comments on the numbers that are scrolling on the screen. We're discussing how best can Zambia's heroes be honored. And so, Mr. Pumola, we actually have some comments here on Facebook, and one says, cadreism is bringing productivity. And so this is from Mr. Mwape. And so maybe my question to you is, should cadreism be banned? And maybe even the Honorable here, who's actually in charge of maybe suggesting some of these things in Parliament, should cadreism overall be banned, since we have been told that it is bringing in productivity? I think
the only thing that is supposed to be banned, there are two different things. Cadreism is, even me, I'm a cadre. But what we are supposed to ban is hooliganism. You get the point? Okay. Even you, when you go to SDA, you are a cadre for that church. So one thing that
so SDA are cadres. Should we say Mr. Pumulo saying SDA are cadres?
Because they believe in their ideology. That's the point. Me, I'm a UPND cadre. But I'm not an hooliganist. I can't go and get something that does not belong to me. So the only thing that we should not tolerate is lawlessness in the country. And that the president and the national youth chairman, they have put their foot down. They have said it. Once you commit illegality, you are on your own. The pocket of organism that you are seeing, even in town, you find that it's being incited by the PF. On several occasions, I've gone in the passage or in the market. You find that the people who you see talkative, when you investigate them, you find that it was maybe a former PF chair. You get the point. That is where the problem is. Because we have given them the leeway to trade in the market, and they want to use that privilege to create confusion, and we are aware of that. But we as a party, we are saying no to hooliganism. We are saying yes to cadreism. Because even President Vakayinde Chilema is a cadre. Honorable Simonzi, he is a UPND cadre. But one thing that we are not going to allow is hooliganism. You get the point? So the common term that people are used to is cadre. Yeah. You get the point? But to be a cadre is not it's not a bad thing. So I'm a proud cadre. Me, I'm very proud to be a UPND cadre. But the only thing that I will tell you that to be a hooligan is not a good thing. This is why we are saying that we should shift in how we are doing politics as a country. We should do the politics of issue-based, not character assassination, not politics of tribal. That is not good for our country. We only have one country, which is called Zambia. And for Zambia to prosper, we need everyone to participate. And people can only participate when we have put the level playing field. That is the only way that the country can move forward. It's
actually quite interesting because getting the hooliganism from cadreism is something that I find to be very interesting, because I'll start from the former President Edgar Lungu. He made pronouncements whilst in power that the PF should not be violent. We also saw it from the current President, whilst in opposition, making such pronouncements, but yet the aspect of cadreism and hooliganism itself continued. So now how best can we have issue-based politics with the continuation of such, regardless of the leaders making pronouncements? How best can we reach that?
What have you seen currently? After NMD from the government, what have you seen?
In terms of...
cadreism.
It has continued.
Yes, it has continued, But if it's there at a very low level, now you are able to go anywhere, free, go into the market, go into the bus stops. You are able to go there and do whatever business you want to do. Previously, it was very difficult. Even when you are walking into the intercity, as long as you are a member of the UPND, make sure that you don't carry anything which is in red. Either a t-shirt, even a cover of the phone. If it's covered in red, then you are in trouble. For now, you can go anywhere. At least there's normality. There's no much in the environment. And with the way things are going, give it another year, and you will see the level of cadence which will be there. It should be something where you sit down and discuss. We believe we make another cadre from another political party, you'll be able to debate. Not the way it was. As long as they know that you are UPND, then you are in trouble.
Of which there's a very big difference between the two, the former and the current head of state. You know, President Hakainde Hichilema, he just don't make pronouncement from without. He makes sure that once he makes a pronouncement, it's adhered to. We as the national youth leaders, when President Hakainde Hichilema made a pronouncement that no athagarism in markets, we the youth leaders moved in and made sure that that pronouncement has been adhered to. So for you to say that you are seeing cadres back in markets or in bus station, I think that is not correct. What you are seeing, it is the PF people who are left to trade at the place where they were trading to, starting to take advantage of the privilege that they are enjoying right now. Because I can tell you that your colleague here, Deborah, is my witness. I am always in town. Whenever you see cadres, me, I'm always in town. And we don't play around. When we see a UPND member misbehaving, the police so far have been very helpful because they move in and bagwira. That is a good part. So maybe I've seen the pocket here and there. Those are just pockets of organism that we are seeing. And then those same pockets of organism that we are seeing, they are being sponsored by the PF. We recently had a fracas in Kulima Tower. When we investigated, even the people who are calling the Minister of Local Government, they were the former PF chairmen, misleading the minister, which was not okay. Go back to Kulima Tower right now. You see the sanitors returned. No mass is there. We as UPND, we are not going to allow the PF controlling the bus station in the name of saying that President Hakainde Hichilema is Akadarism. No, we are not going to allow that. We are not going to stop to form branches in the markets, taxi ranks, in the bus station. Why? We already had branches in the markets, in the taxi ranks. The branches were there and we are going to maintain them. One thing we are not going to allow, it is for those branches to interfere in the operations of the councils. That we are not going to allow. And our cadres, whenever you see a UPND card, the UPND cadres, we are very different from Maningi. We are very proud. Me, I'm very proud of UPND because my smart was at Avanam civil emotion. They will stop. And with time, you will find that we have zero tolerance of hooliganism in town. You'll be proud, the young lady, for you to move in intercity, saying that our Pomona will be my cadres there, which will make us to be very proud. Otherwise, we have taken note of what you said, that you are able to see one or two cadres here and there. We are still on the ground, we are still working on that. But the most important thing and the difficult thing that we have encountered, it is that our colleagues in PF are not helping us to make sure that we eliminate cadreism or unicarism completely. Because there are the people who are behind the problem of confusion that you are seeing within the CDB. Because the president made pronouncement, if you are following him, that those shops who were grabbed from the UPND, they must be given back to the owners. Of course, using the council, you need to provide your documents that shop for real was yours. And when one goes to claim a shop with the valid documents, you call that as cadreism. That is not right. You need to understand that thousands of our people's shops were grabbed We have bus drivers who lost their buses because of belonging to UPND. So today, you, the same people who attacked our chairman and he ambushed his bus, you want to call him a cadre. We are not going to allow that. Let's all enjoy peace in harmony. There's only one thing that governs us. It is the Constitution of the Republic of Zambia. Regardless of where you're coming from, whether you're white, you're black like me, we need to follow what requires of us. The law of law, it is there. President Hakainde Hichilema does just not make pronouncement. He makes sure that every pronouncement that he makes is implemented. This is why us as youth leaders, we are monitoring. Even when the president is giving speech, we see the MP like my brother here being on phone. We call them honorable. It is your job to be attentive when the president is issuing directives, so that you go back to your people in the constituency and explain what the president said. We have seen the pocket of sometimes if the president is addressing, someone is on phone. So we are not like cadres from UPN, whereby if a minister is a child then we'll just keep quiet. No. As we are going there, President Ashton address, you are supposed to be attentive. So that when you go back to constituency, explain to the people what the head of state has said. And this is something that we are taking very serious. We are not cadres that one can come and use. No. We are a cadre of substance. If we call ourselves a cadre and a meaning, this is why we have seen our National Youth Chairman give this one. So making sure that he has taken a stance of no nonsense. Reason, we want to deliver to the expectation of the people. For Barry to succeed, he needs our support. And we are there to make sure that he succeeds, because it's us who are going out in the field campaigning for him. So if Barry fails, it is us who fails. So we are making sure that whatever Barry pronounces, it is implemented. This is why we have an able political advisor to the president, Honorable Evingom. Whenever there's an issue, we call upon him. And the good part is he has got an open door policy, whereby whenever there's an issue, we call him Honorable, this is an issue, and we will attend to that issue. Why? We need to make sure that come 2026, we have an easy road. All what we have promised the Zambian people. Imagine in 10 months, we are able to, we have seen free education, something that we promised, delivered. Look at the inflation rate right now. Look at how much we have in reserve right now. That is a plus. Zambian people, they have not taken the free education for granted. Why? Because they have gotten used to that. It's something that they never expected. But tatalasa padetachonga. So even opposition that wafuna kutishita attack, let them attack us based on what we have failed. Productively, but not for them wanting to go persona. That is what we are against. If you see a corruption commission assigning someone, they want to bring in the name of the president. It's wrong. It is not the job of the president to direct the SCC, no. The SCC, they know what they are supposed to do. So the president is nowhere near the picture. So there are other people who have tried by all means to temper the president to comment. But the good part, the head of state is a thick-skinned guy. He doesn't move very easily. He's someone where when he says no, may have been with President Hakainde Hichilema for the last 15 years. I've known him for that long. So I know the way he is. Hakainde, when he says something, he means it. This is why he has succeeded in his own capacity to be where he is today. Principle. And me as young people, it's one of the things that I've gotten from him. For one to succeed in life, you need to have principles. Principle must guide your life. So us as young people, celebrating our fallen heroes, we should make sure that we have the principles, the things that we're supposed to do and things that we're not supposed to do. When you are moving with the wind, you achieve nothing. Even me, I want to become a member of parliament one day. I want to become a secretary general also of UPND. So I don't want UPND to shrink after 10 years. I want UPND to move on, like the way NCC has done. This is why we are very much in control of our part. And we know what we want. We are not going to disappoint the Zambian people. And we are thanking the Zambian people for the mandate that they have given us. So far, in 10 months of President Hakainde Hichilema, he has scored more than what PF scored in 10 years. This is a fact, and you can never take away that from us. And that's what makes us be proud of being UPND cadres. The only thing that we'll never do is to get government money. That will never do. We will make sure that whatever belongs to the people goes to the people. So that when we are no more, our children will say that we are youth leaders who spoke for us, youth leaders who stood for us. We are the president who made sure. One thing that people of Zambia should honor President Hakainde Hichilema now. Even the PF, they are agreeable to this. It just took him one statement, no cadarism, and everything changed. But the former head of state was saying this and that, but we still saw cadarism around. But there are no cadres. Those pockets of cadarism that you are seeing, my sister, we're going to fix that, don't worry.
And so,
actually, on the issue of cadarism, I can attest. The message is being passed on very well. One day I went to Intercity. There are some our people came from Mongo for youth endeavors. And when I was taking this young man to Intercity, I saw two young men coming to me and they were saying, boss, but come on. It's not me who answered him. It's his fellow friends who came and said, you, Manale Saipo.
That's a plus.
We stood on that for a few minutes. When I was about to start off, he came again. He said, where that foot? Manalesa. Then he ran away. So you can see that the message is sinking. The message is sinking. It's like the issue of Kadaism deep roots. It's difficult to afford it because so many people were benefiting from that. It has become a livelihood for people. For you to afford it, it takes time, and you need the proper medicine. And the medicine has come produced by UPND. It will take time to go, but eventually it will go. And when it goes, Zambia will become a nice country to live in.
Okay, Honorable, so in the same vein, maybe of what Mr. Pumulo said, whereby UPND has done more in 10 months in comparison to PF. We've had leaders in the past, for example, President Levi Mwanawasa. So should you just honor people maybe when they are gone and not recognize, or maybe should I say in Zambia there's a trend of maybe politicking, even when it comes to maybe economics and all those things. We have the PF who criticized MMD, but now that after the death of Levi Mwanawasa, they are even posting, even on their official Facebook page, praising him and all that. So should we maybe politic when it comes to economic development, or should people be honored regardless of their political affiliation if they have actually scored? For example, you saw the PF did a lot in terms of infrastructure. What's your comment on that?
That is where they're stealing from.
They're stealing from infrastructure.
Just a minute. When it comes to economy, you pay in number two to nothing. The previous regime took more than 10 years to negotiate with the World Bank, IMF, for them to get a deal with them. They failed. UPND comes into government within a few months. How much did we get? $1.4 billion. From there, we are going to discuss with the creditors. You wait and see what will come from the discussions. You can see the country now is under control. Inflation has come down. Under the previous regime, inflation had gone to how many digits? 2 digits, about 22, 23%. What about the Kwacha? What happened to the Kwacha? It was just a lot.
So does it mean PF has nothing to be honored for being as a
Just a minute. Just a minute. For now, when you touch that topic, you are touching my heart. Yes, they are saying they did a lot of infrastructure in the country. Yes, they did. In other parts of the country. You go to Western Province. Go and point at a place where you're going to say, this is what they did in Western Province. They talked about the Kingdom of the University. Go there and see. Isn't it there? Mongo Saka Road. Mongo Saka Road. You go from TBZ to Mongo. It's something else. Like this activity you can recover within maybe 30 minutes. It takes you 2 hours. Go into my courses in Narikwanda. Go and point at a school which was built under PS. Go and tell me. It's not there. So why should we honor them? Let other people praise them because yes, they did whatever they did where they were. They are allocated a mini hospital in Rwanda, which was later reallocated to other places. When I was voted in, I went to Ministry of Health, and they found the file was closed. I wrote a letter, it was reallocated back to Rwanda. So why should I praise them for now? Yes, they did whatever they did, yes, but with Kadaism, which was deep-rooted even in Rwanda, I will never ever praise them.
Does it mean they have no single thing, not even one, to be maybe honored for, since they were talking about Heroes Day, not even maybe the late Sata?
We can honor them for destroying the country. We can honor them for because there's too much Kadaism. The country was put into, I would say, disrepute, because look, when they took over government, the country was owing $500 million. At the time when they live in the country, how much were we owing the foreign creditors? More than $16 billion. So tell me, which is better? Because look at this. If you have borrowed so much, you have to look at the infrastructure which has been built from that money. For me now, I'm saying in Rwanda, I can't see any infrastructure which was built. But look at the debt which they have accumulated. But when it comes to pay the payment of the loan, see, the whole country is paying. Have you seen what I'm trying to say? Yes. In my constituency, yes, we are lacking so many areas. But the country borrowed a lot of money, which you benefited even my constituency. But I would say, yes, the constituency is there. Maybe that it benefited indirectly. But for now, look, after borrowing so much, nothing has been invested in Rwanda. But when it comes to repayment, my future children or grandchildren will be part of the people who will be paying that money. So why should we honor them? For me, I would say, sorry, let other people honor.
So there's nothing to honor here.
Okay, and so we have another comment here from our viewers online and so on Facebook, and so they're saying, speeches are good, but action is better. So what's your response to that? Maybe they're comparing to, I don't know, maybe what is happening where we have a lot of maybe CDF, all those things are maybe more, coming out more in speeches and have not actually been seen. What's your response to this?
It's not speeches. Money is being funded. It's being brought from Ministry of Finance.
For how long is it being?
That's why those are taking problems. We are putting our house in order.
Okay.
And not only putting our house in order, meetings have been taking place, and these things are being, look, there are 156 questions. For those documents to come to Ministry of Local Government and reviewed, approved, they have to go to Ministry of, just to sign the contracts. It takes time. So there's a lot of congestion. Yes, we agree. But give us time. Once those things have been put in place, you'll see the development in the constituency. We can take it up.
But there's actually a genuine concern from people saying that the UPND government is not doing so much, but is saying so much about what the former party did not do. Can they concentrate on actually implementing what they said, because we are driving towards a year in power, not so?
This is why we are here celebrating our heroes, because without knowing where you're coming from, you can't know where you're going. Okay. So we will never stop talking about the PF, because we are where we are today because of the PF. We have got the debt that we are repaying now because of the PF. So us will never stop talking about the PF, because they have put us where we are today. It is because of they were exaggerating prices of contracts. This is why we are having these problems. So the people who are saying that we are talking too much and we are working less, that is a misplacing of the words. I've just said one thing here, that we have delivered on free education. That is a plus. Unless you are someone who doesn't value education like Honorable GBM, who said that they can't eat education. But we in UPN, we value education. We want our children to be pilots also. So unless you're looking at it from that angle point of view, but I can tell you that we are walking the talk. We have implemented more than what the PF have done. I've just alluded to look at the inflation rate where we are today. We have now hit the single-digit inflation. Look at how much we have now in reserve, which is a plus. Look at how much the PF left in reserve. Look what the debt that we have right now. It is because of the carelessness of the PF. That same monies that the PF borrowed were misplaced. And who are the people who are controlling the situation? It is President Hakainde Hichilema and his government. So for PF to say that we are talking a lot and acting less, that is not true. The records are there to speak for us. Single-digit inflation rate in 10 months. We have got more money now in reserves in 10 months. We have free education in 10 months. We have CDF in 10 months. We are making sure that the doctors and the teachers are recruited in 10 months. What more do you want? Other than 1-0.
Okay, so Mr. Pumulo, even as we go towards concluding, we've seen that many youths of today are actually social media heroes and not heroes of maybe productive things. So what's your message to the youths out there?
My message is very simple. Let the youth know the people who to follow. Because we don't want our children to be following those who go on social media naked. We want our children to be inspired with the likes of Mzinga Melus. Those are the people that we want to inspire our children, because we should make sure that we need to know that Zambia is a Christian nation. We have morals to protect. So let's make sure that we don't allow social media to mislead our country, because social media it has got vast impact in our lives. But unfortunately, even the people who are being followed a lot on social media are those people who do things that I call appropriate, which is very sad. So with time, I believe that they will realize that we should follow the people who are going to inspire us to become great individuals in life.
Okay, Honorable, concluding remarks?
I know the major problem in our country, which people are talking about is the CDF. Let their hearts be at rest. Things are working out soon. I can assure you, even you, my sisters here, if you apply today for a loan, I know you are both below 35 years. You will be able to get a loan and do a business venture. So let people who are complaining wait a little while. We are just sorting out these problems. Well, that's stressing problems, and it will come to pass. And the people will enjoy life in Ghana.
Okay, so
we're in the Champions League now. That's where we are.
Okay, I'm sure for the other day we have heard, learned one or two things from this segment. And so we'll just take a look at a story which was done on 7th July from Kenneth Kaunda's burial. And this will come to the end of this segment. But in the next segment, we're actually going to be joined by Mr. Peter Malembeka, who's the chairperson for the Freedom Fighters Association of Zambia. And so he's just going to help us discuss, as a freedom fighter, what are some of the things that like the new administration to be done for them. And so we'll just take a look at this story from Kenneth Kaunda's burial.
Zambia's founding father and the country's first Republican president, Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, has been buried in Lusaka at Embassy Park after 21 days since his death. Dr. Kaunda died on the 17th of June 2021 at the age of 97. After his death, the head of state, President Edgar Lungu, declared 3 weeks of national mourning. His body was also taken around the country for members of the public to pay their respect. His body was also taken around the country for members of the public to pay their last respect. Among those at the burial service was the head of state. Different dignitaries and former Mozambique president was also in attendance. And 21 gun salutes were done in his honor. And this was a message from the family.
Mr. President, The Kaunda family is greatly humbled by this spontaneous demonstration of love which Dr. Kaunda himself abundantly shared with the people of Zambia in everything that he did, said, and thought. The family also acknowledges with thanks receipt of messages of condolences from within and beyond Zambia.
Dr. Kaunda, popularly known as Keke or Super Ken, rose to prominence as a key figure in what was then Northern Rhodesia's independence movement from Britain in the 1950s. Dr. Kaunda, described by many as a selfless leader, fought against white minority rule in what was then Northern Rhodesia, took power after independence from Britain in 1964. Miriam Kayamba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Zambia today joins the rest of the continent in commemorating the African Freedom Day under the theme Leveraging on National Resources to Boost Food Security. And Zambia's President Hakainde Hichilema led members of the diplomatic corps, government officials and individuals in laying the wreath at the Freedom Statue in Lusaka in honor of men and women who sacrificed for the freedom of the continent. And United Party for National Development UPND Lusaka Province Chairperson Anderson Banda says it is good to see the country commemorate the Africa Freedom Day without any bloodshed.
Everybody that has made this year's African Freedom Day non-political. African Freedom Day today, it has really given us its true meaning. We have seen one where there is no one fighting anybody. We have seen peace. We have seen unity of purpose.
So if the people that we need to appreciate this year is the young people of UPND, and also those young people who were not part of us as UPND, but were Zambians who also sacrificed with our people. These people need to be appreciated.
Meanwhile, Democratic Party Deputy Spokesperson Frank Sichone says more still needs to be done in order to ensure that citizens are free from unnecessary arrests.
And apart from that, we need also to ask government to actualize this freedom that we got on independence. Today we are now a democratic country and we expect the people to have all the freedoms, freedom of expression and everything, so that the people enjoy this freedom. But of course with caution and of course with the sense of understanding that the freedom cannot be abused.
The event was, however, not short of entertainment from those who only come with one agenda to cause commotion.
Most of you guys would have been hanged, but the church is a man of God. Anyway. He knows that's why now. He's all right as well.
Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
So welcome back to the Camnet Breakfast Show. We're discussing Heroes Day today. How best can some of our country's heroes be honored? And we have been joined by Mr. Peter Malembeka, who's actually the chairperson for the Freedom Fighters Association. Welcome to the studio, Mr. Malembeka. Okay, so maybe just to begin, you are a freedom fighter. How have your lives been as freedom fighters? Have you been provided for everything you need in terms of maybe your daily livelihoods, or maybe a freedom fighter struggling to live?
As my freedom fighter, I don't have anything. They didn't give me anything. Just saying like that. I started this politics in 1962. 62, we came in 63. 63, when we have been done now with me, take a Kaunda. I was a youth, but now I'm a freedom fighter in colonial days. Yes. Now, since that time, I have never seen any person to come to my house to protect me, unless H.H. Akande. And I'm very...
So the current president actually came?
I didn't.
Okay, so how best do you feel, how best do you feel that freedom fighters can be honored? Since you are a freedom fighter, how best should freedom fighters be honored?
Freedom fighter, they should be honored with the mental, other things to use their houses. You know, they're old. Others, it doesn't work. They're just like me. Yes. So, if they give these freedom fighters things, it can be well. But this time, others, they're just staying like that. Never only to say that freedom fighter, it is not good at all. We have tried hard in this world, like my soul. I've tried my best. I've been at State House, but not State House this time. Colonial days, Governor's Lane, we have been calling Governor's Lane. And even myself, I've been saying me, Governor's Lane. My father was working at it, Sasa Benson Governor before, yes. Sasa Benson Governor, my father was working there. And so it is where I studied even my politics. So they said that, Peter, why are you trying this? No, I want to see ANC and KK. Now, since that, I've started to go to changes, you know, where there is my plot there. Yes, it is where we are. Alimuanga Kumbla, KK was the secretary. Kumbla was like a president. Before we didn't get to this Zambia. We are still in colonial days. Yes. So since that, I worked very hard until I started growing up. So I said, what should I do now? My father now is getting now good, but let me try to find out a work. So I found a work in Zambia Police Force. I worked in Zambia Police Force 6 years and 6 months. Even now, I'm still struggling with my benefit.
You have not yet been given your benefits?
They have given me half benefit. You know, the President Chiluba, what he did, he ate our money. Yes. So now
have you been to the Ministry of Labour over these issues?
Yes, nothing. They have just closed everywhere. That we are just people who are working just in the road. But we have been working in government. Me, I've been working for state quarters. Yes. So 6 years in government. And when I retired this time, they gave me small amount portion, very small, and you can't, those who have got no brain to use it, you can't use it. But myself, I've used it. Because so how can I keep my sons like that? No, let me try to build a small house. So I built a small house to wait. See that government, you will see that government, days are good, and we are getting old and old, just like that. Now, as a freedom fighter, Mom, please, which I can say that, I'm obeying to the president. I'm obeying to the president to help us. We freedom, all of us, we freedom fighters, We are suffering. And others, they couldn't know us, see now. So they should put us together and to help us, even farms, even house. It doesn't matter if they give you 2 rooms, it's enough. We even farm you can use. Yes, I got my son, they can do anything. You see? Yes. So that's what we want. Because we are suffering, eating, because we didn't work. But now I worked already. But the government is still
owing you money.
Yes.
Mr. Malembeka, was there a time they promised to give you the same help? Was there a time when they promised that they will give you some form of help?
No. Because this money we took when it should be a long time ago. Now it's 20, it should be 22 years, 22 years. I'm still waiting money. I've got paper here, which is written Zambia Police for my pay. I think, can I show you can see? Because talking is difficult.
And so to our viewers out there, we're actually talking about heroes. They help basically Zambia's heroes be honored, and we have been joined by Mr. Peter Malembeka, who's the chairperson for the Freedom Fighters Association of Zambia, and he's talking about how freedom fighters are actually struggling to live, and so they feel that that is not really honoring the country's heroes. So you can actually do go in and give us your views on the matter. What should be done to actually honor our country's heroes, Messi?
Yeah, it's actually something that we should take seriously, I would say, because looking at the fact that he is a freedom fighter and he has been living without getting his, or rather, his retirement benefits, it's something very sad, because these are the people that fought for us. These are the people that were in the forefront, making sure that we're having the same freedom that we're experiencing, but yet we have not done enough as a nation to honor them, because from what he's saying right now, it's like we have just forgotten that they actually existed. It's very sad to hear. And Mr. Malembeka here is actually complaining that if there was some form of consistency, because he's saying that his benefits were given half, and even the little that they gave him was not enough to sustain him. So if there can be consistency in terms of giving these retirement benefits, because it's not just the freedom fighters alone. We have seen a lot of people actually complaining that their benefits are not being given to them. It's actually even more sad that he is a national asset but has not been given the desired honor. Or it's actually very sad, I would say, very much so.
Is that 2 million there, Mr. Malembeka?
Yeah.
2 million, odd over 2 million. Which 2 million in the odd currency?
The problem what I've seen,
it's saying 2 million.
Others have been given 6 million, others 7, others 8.
So,
but it isn't among myself. Even my friends, 2 million, 2 million, 2 million. What is happening? And no, we shall see, we shall see.
So, Mr. Malembeka, from the 2 million, how much were you given?
2 million. I will just give you that more than 2 million. So that 2 million, do you know what I did, Mommy? God is wonderful. I like God. I took that money, I bought a plot. And I took money, I bought blocks, and it's named a small house. I said, no, my kids, they should stay here, and myself, I can stay here. So it is where we are chasing, we are struggling even this time, but no help. But the most waste, my friends are suffering. I saw someone, one is suffering. So I didn't say anything. I said, no, let's pray to God. They will help us as a president. He will help us. So we are trying to obey a lot, all we freedom fighters, to HH, to help us not even they give us to small farm. We can make a garden, a cabbage, than struggling in just in town.
So what do you do for a living right now?
Right now, I'm just staying now. But God, He has given me one thing.
Mm-hmm.
God is, but He has given me one thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
A doctor, not as a UTH.
Mm-hmm.
No, Spirit of God.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a Nganga. No. I'm not a Nganga. I'm a Spirit of God.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but I'm healing well. Yes, if not, I'm healing well. I'm doing any disease. If you tell me no, yes, I wait. God loves me.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, so again, as we come to the conclusion of our program, how would you like this new government to actually make a difference for you freedom fighters?
Yes. This, our new government,
Mm-hmm.
we like it very much, and that's why we freedom fighters open our eyes so that, yes, God knows people how to sing. And that's why He won.
Mm-hmm.
Because of what? His heart.
Mm-hmm.
You see?
Mm-hmm.
So, I can't say much. We are just warning of that, or what I've said. If they can help us money, we can do. We have got power. There are a lot of other people by that got power.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. We can make a farm, we make a garden. If they want, they can give us a house. There's 3 rooms we can say, but they must wait, not staying, because say that I'm old, no, I can't wait. No, that's not. That's not. Let's try to wait for kids. And I'm happy to be help the president at 80. And you know, I've emphasized it sometimes where we had a meeting at a hotel somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I said, we old people of the whole Zambia,
Mm-hmm.
let's help the HH. Because of these young kids, girls and boys, that are giving problems to the president. You see? They doesn't go to school. They want only to drink beer.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's not it. Our president, he gave us free school. When did he see a free school? But where we are coming from? 0.
Mm-hmm.
Unless KK. He's the one who put it free school. But today, he's the one who give us now a school, free school. But I wonder, when I move even compound, find the drunk girls, boys, small youngs. I said, what's happened? Are we lost or what? So I'm begging to all old people in Zambia, even if they are not those who are old people, let's teach our children to stop beer. They must put sense to go to school until they reach at university.
Mm-hmm.
This is like find a good president like that to give us a free school, and we are trying to make it something which is not supposed. But please, all the people in Zambia, please, don't take it as a funny, don't laugh. Let's teach these kids, they should stop beer. And girls, they should stop moving, they must proper dressing, just like that. They have got old people like us, but I don't know how those old people again, they forgot to teach that child. You see? They must teach you, go to school, don't go to beer. Dress properly. Not say because a teacher, he will teach him what to know. Teacher had got a time. He haven't got time. We old people in our houses, we must teach the kids to dress, answer people, behaving. That will be very well.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Malembeka. I'm sure we'll still do some more interviews for the main news, and this is actually where we come to the conclusion of our program.
Thank you so much, Mr. Peter Malembeka, for coming through.
And so to our viewers out there, today we're celebrating Heroes Day, which is the 4th of July, and tomorrow we're going to be celebrating Unity Day. So earlier on, we were joined by Mr. Konwa Simunji, who's actually the Rwanda MP, and Mr. Phineas Pumulo, who's the UPND Deputy National Youth Spokesperson, and now we have been joined by Mr. Peter Malembeka, who's the chairperson for the Freedom Fighters Association. And so we have, this has been a very wonderful show, and I think, Mercy, really, what has been your takeaway maybe from some of the major things we talked about?
From what I've come to appreciate of this show is that it has actually brought out the importance of honoring the heroes that we have in Zambia. It is something that is of utmost importance, especially for us, the youth. I mean, growing up in an area where a lot has already been done in terms of it's quite hard to relate when you weren't there at the time they were actually struggling for the same freedom. Now, when you're just living in it, it's very hard to appreciate. But then, now that we've actually spoken about it and having a man of his age and all the history that he carries of what Zambia used to be and how it is now, it is actually something that I've come to learn to say, okay, I should be at the point where I'm actually appreciating the effort and the work that the people who are before us did. So it has been an interesting show. My name is Messi Chanika. I was co-hosting with the beautiful Zipporah.
And so please join us tomorrow as we talk about Unity Day. But from us, let's have a very wonderful Heroes Day.
Hi.